Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing God of War 3 Remastered on Chaos difficulty, and this is my Pain Plus guide and walkthrough. We're currently on installment the 21st. It is the Caverns continued. So, we've finished an ordeal, and definitely I've got to call what we did in the last video an ordeal. And we've got actually a really difficult fight if you're staying within the bounds of the honor code system for Paint Plus. On my last walkthrough, I'm not going to go into it now because the fight's going to start pretty soon, but suffice to say, I was damaging other enemies besides breaking just the shields, and that was something that I knew that it was wrong when I was doing it, but since it's such a strange fight, we're with shield enemies, I let it go, but this time I didn't, and I think the fight time is about the same, but it has to be done very specifically. And, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the two Gorgons. So these are the Gorgons that you see occasionally in this game. They're not the main serpents, but I choose to take them out because, first of all, they're right at the beginning. Second of all, they're too difficult to have around with them causing problems about, well, first of all, getting you turned to stone and potentially killed. So I take them out, and then I think the Minotaur count here is just 2. So obviously we can't try to get the shield enemies out of the way with Minotaurs running around as well, because that's going to possibly cause us to put damage on the Minotaurs, which is against the rules. So what I decided to do here was allow for no damage on any enemies, even these ones over here with the cestus. So I'm hoping as I watch this back that I didn't commit any of those sins that are definitely not flagrant sins, but they just accidentally happen when you overhit a shield enemy. But I don't think that I do. Now, if I do, and I'm watching this commentary, I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna do. But I honestly don't think that problem happened. What I was remembering here was a trial called Use Protection in the Challenge of Olympus, where it's just this sort of scenario, albeit there's a timer on that one, where you are supposed to break the shields without killing any of the legionnaires. But on this, obviously, we're trying to kill the legionnaires, but first of all, we don't want to put any damage on them, and second of all, we definitely we have to kill them. But when you kill them is up to you. Now, you can break all of the shields first if you want to, but with them running around, there's a good chance that you're going to put damage on a legionnaire. And putting damage on a legionnaire with the cestus is pretty significant, since the cestus hits the hardest. It just does. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to break shields, as you saw, and then I'm trying to break as many shields simultaneously as I can so that I can I can isolate the enemies over here. It's a big key to isolating these enemies, because if I just do one at a time, it's going to take way too long. Second of all, that particular event right there that happened, I thought he was closer to the side of the cube than I saw that he turned out to be. But if you can keep the shield enemies, these are the sentinels. We've got to have fought these enemies by now, but if we haven't, they're called Olympus sentinels. Now, these ones over here, I'm trying to isolate the sentinels from the legionnaires, because if I could get the shield ones to taunt and keep the other ones closer to me, and I could just ring them out, that's going to be a big help. because the nice thing is that the legionnaires walk over to you more quickly than the shield ones, so that you can have an easier job of doing the separation process. And even if I do one hit on a legionnaire, I don't think that that's gonna make me do this fight again, because I remember finishing it and remembering that it was that I had a clean bill of health on it in my mind, so that I was very satisfied with the footage. I was smiling as I left this area. So what the trial was all about that I mentioned a few minutes ago, about the trial of it's just called, I don't know what number of trial it is, but it's called Use Protection, where it had those rules that I said, where you can't kill the legionnaire, but you just want to break their shields. Well, it's the same kind of thing over here, because if I so much as touch this enemy, I'm going to restart. So I'm just going to I'm going to break as many shields as I can simultaneously. The triangle button is a great button to use for that. And the nice thing about this enemy too is that the more you hit it, it changes colors too, so that you'll know that if it's there's a red glow to the legionnaires as you destroy the shield. It takes 3 hits with square, two direct hits with triangle. If you're too far away, it will take you 3 hits with triangle, if that's what you're thinking about that. Also, you don't ever want to linger next to the legionnaires, because they can grab you, and while one grabbing you is fine, since you can break out with no damage, if 2 grab you or more, you get damaged. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say or how fast you waggle the stick, you're going to get damaged, unfortunately. So I think that was the only mistake. That actually was not a mistake. I did not put damage on a legionnaire right there. He was clear of the blast zone right there, as it were. I think that's the only time where I had a problem about thinking there was a mistake, but the hit counter never went to 2. If it had gone to 2 right there, I would have had a problem with it. But using the Orion's snare is the best way to probably kill those legionnaires. Now, another way would be to bounce them with triangle and then do the snare. However, I am at the point where I'm almost finished with this, so I don't want to attempt to bounce one of these ones and have them armor through it or block it somehow, and me thinking that they're launching, I'll get damaged. So I'm not gonna do that. But we're almost clear with this, and I would say that this is probably, if you're trying to do this in an honorable way, this is probably the best way to do it. The last time I did it, I was standing on the sides where the triangles are. I was standing up there, and I was using triangle attacks to destroy the shields, but I was also damaging the legionnaire. I'm sorry, not the legionnaire. Well, yeah, legionnaires too, if they had no shield, and I was also damaging the minotaurs. So this way, it's a cleaner way, and we can say that we did it honorably. And if this wasn't going to work out within a couple of hours or a few hours, I was seriously going to think about using my last strategy, or just tolerate damage. Tolerating damage, it's not, I'm not trying to showcase no taking damage as there being some kind of virtue in it, because this is not a case of being virtuous or not. This is just an additional layer of a challenge, and that's it. There's not any virtue, so don't mistake that or any kind of pride. As the only thing I would say about pride is that I'm happy when I'm finished with it, so that probably is some sort of element of pride. But it's more of just a general satisfaction of having done it on that higher stipulation of challenge. I'm sorry about that philosophy. I know most people don't care. They just want to watch the game and watch the fights, see the outcomes, hear the struggles, and laugh at the ridiculous amounts of time it takes for some of these fights, because it's absolutely crazy. I've decided to end the video at the labyrinth, so the next video will start at the beginning of the labyrinth itself once we get in there, which will not be long from now. And the first fight is, if you remember, it's the one with Bronze Taluses, a fully grown Cerberus mongrel, and some of his underlings. His life, though, is quite high. And then, of course, you have more Bronze Taluses, and it's a hellishly difficult fight. So I hope that you stay tuned for it, if you care to. That will be the beginning of the next video. The first fight, in fact. But again, I come back to that piece of experience that I've been mentioning. If a fight is hard on its own terms, then it's hard just because it's hard, and not because it's cheap or requires luck or any other BS factors. It's always preferable, for me at least, to a fight where it's more about me than the game letting me win at some point. I always hate that, but I don't mind if I'm required to bring my own skill and try to get better to do it. It's always preferable. I will see you in the next installment. Please take care.